Hello, good morning, everyone, and thank you for attending this webinar around Autodesk AI or Autodesk Artificial Intelligence. And this webinar is going to be recorded and will be shared with all of you that registered for it. We will also make this webinar available on demand, so this way you can also share it with your colleagues that couldn't join today or that didn't have the chance to register. If you have any questions during this webinar, we advise you to put in your question in the Q&A field that you can see in the Zoom webinar toolbar. And with me, I have Mara, who will assist you in answering some of the questions. And at the end, if we have time left, I'll give you some answers live. Now, for those questions that are not answered, don't panic. We will reach out to you afterwards and try to answer it in the best way possible. Also, there is live translation available through the show captions button. You will be able to translate it to your own language, if you will. And there will also be a poll launched during the session, so please review it and give us your answer if you want. My name is Dieter Vermeulen. I'm a solutions engineer for AECO at Autodesk. I'm based in Belgium, and I'm actually working already more than 10 years with Autodesk, helping our customers to find innovative ways and help them to work smarter. And my expertise and focus are mainly lying in digital twin technology, computational design, generative design, and of course also Autodesk AI. Which I'm going to talk to you about in the next 60 minutes. Now, before I start, I need to show you this because we may make forward-looking statements regarding planned or future development efforts, and these might change without notice. So purchasing or investment decisions should not be made based upon reliance on these statements. Now, what are we going to look at today? Now, I have quite some topics to talk to you about, and I'm going to start with the AI opportunity, then some history and background around Autodesk AI, also explaining a little bit more on what is it that what we mean with Autodesk AI. What are our current capabilities? We can see in our AECO product portfolio, some news around Autodesk Assistant, Model Context Protocol, and then end with a few notes around generative AI. Okay, so let's see. The AI opportunity. What do we mean by that? Let me start with a striking headline from The Economist. The world's most valuable resource is no longer oil, but data. Think about that in the context of AI. Modern AI systems, they don't run on oil, they run on data. And the more high quality, diverse data they ingest, the smarter and more powerful they become. And this creates a feedback loop. Better AI attracts more data, which fuels better AI. And just like oil-powered industry a century ago, that data now powers the AI economy. And also digitalization in AECO is accelerating. This is driven by cloud, it's driven by AI, scanners, drones, the evolution from CAD to BIM, and now also what we call outcome-based data-driven BIM. Yes, that change is hard, and we see also this as a biggest opportunity. So as workflows digitize and supply chains connect, we can design and deliver differently, but also faster and safer and with better outcomes. And this is not technology for the sake of technology. It's about reshaping how we are planning, how we are collaborating and executing across the entire project lifecycle in the AECO industry. Now, about data, here's the reality. We have more data than ever, and all that data is scattered across tools, it's across formats, locations, and that fragmentation leads to all kinds of things like duplication, rework, stale information, decisions that are made on bad data. And we see that our AECO firms have massively expanded storage and file counts, And it's yet so much of that information that remains stuck in silos, which are untrusted or even out of date. And the result, well, you get slower delivery, higher costs, and preventable quality issues that erode confidence with clients and partners. And unused and low quality data carries a real price tag. Industry analysis show that the cost of construction attributable, or the construction rework at least, that is attributable to bad data is enormous. As you can see the numbers in here. And the bigger loss is the opportunity cost when up to the vast majority of captured data goes unused. So imagine the impact if more of our information was clean, connected, and applied at the right moment so that we can prevent rework, have better decisions, better informed decisions in an earlier stage of a project, and compounding value across design, engineering, and construction. The flip side is powerful. Organizations that build strong data capabilities, we see them outperforming. And independent research has shown that data leaders see materially higher profit growth versus beginners. That's because better data lets you understand project and portfolio health and helps you to allocate resources, trim waste, streamline operations. Now, with real-time insight, you can course correct early and bid smarter. And there's also the way to accelerate to optimize designs far faster. And that's turning this information into a durable competitive advantage. But what does better data look like? We're moving beyond monolithic files toward granular information that cloud platforms can route to the right person and at the right time. Things like object counts, properties, materials, context, all of that available anywhere. And by breaking design data into these small portable pieces and enabling interoperability, we make data accessible, connected, and useful. And the payoff, it's very straightforward. You get better decisions, less rework, and you get more trust across teams and stakeholders. Now, to unlock AI's promise, we need that right data foundation. Like first, we store and centralize granular data with the right pipelines and permissions. Secondly, there is this structure and governance where definitions, standards, and quality checks are very important. And then we have this third layer, which is visualization and democratizing this data with dashboards, analytics, and also interoperable experiences. And on that foundation, AI can automate the Monday surface insights before decisions and help us design and deliver more sustainable and higher quality outcomes. And all of that in a consistent way. Now at Autodesk, we are leading the way with the introduction of this new approach that we are calling outcome-based BIM. We started 40 years ago already with CAD and moved to BIM, where 3D parametric modeling was introduced. Connected BIM is where we started to include BIM into a connected data environment. And then this outcome-based BIM is where we are going to use that granular data. And this innovative approach is integrating AI as a co-creator alongside the conventional model-based method. It's designed to empower AECO practitioners to define project success and overcome competing criteria. Now, here is an example of what the future of BIM will look like. With outcome-based BIM, teams will define upfront their desired outcomes for the project. So things like maximum cost, sustainability impacts, or the method of construction. Now, while AI generates a range of options to meet their criteria, and using AI-enabled analysis, firms are immediately getting insights into the impact of their decision. And they can shortlist the best options then. So I want to be clear here, outcome-based BIM is not a replacement of model-based BIM. It's just a powerful additional way of working that will complement a model-based approach, and all of that powered by AI. Now, Autodesk has been researching and working in AI technology for over a decade. And if we explore the impact of the various AI models over time, we see that it started already with the narrow deep learning, and it goes further until what we know, artificial superintelligence maybe. And what we want to see in here is that these are intriguing questions about the future of AI, and it's including those possibilities of this AGI, artificial general intelligence. And it's evolving and it will continue for many years. We are just at the start of a new computing paradigm. Like large language models or LLMs, they are the foundation of this modern AI. And they provide the intelligence to understand, reason, and generate language at a scale. So you can think of them as powerful text engines that can answer questions or that can summarize, translate, or even write code. So the LLMs are what we call thinking and understanding. Now, today we are already a step further, especially within the Autodesk AI. We are in the domain of agentic AI. And this is taking it one step further in terms of AI intelligence. So instead of only reacting with answers, agents can actively pursue goals. So these agents are making decisions and taking actions. Now, while AI may seem like a new topic for our industries, Autodesk has been working in that AI space for over 15 years now. After publishing our first research paper on AI for design, for generative design at least, in 2009, we established our lab in 2018, or AI lab. In 2019, generative design especially was launched as a product. And in 2022, we published a 3D machine learning design file dataset in partnership with MIT in Boston and inviting other researchers to begin training their own 3D models. We then announced our first experimental generative AI model, which was called Project Bernini at AU in 24. And now at this year at AU 25, we also announced Autodesk Assistant. Now, also something important in here in the development is that there is nothing more general purpose than creating that new relationship between humans and machines. As technology users, we have always been a relationship to machines, but telling to a computer what to do is very hard. And until recently, our relationship with machines has mostly been limited entirely through this narrow interface of a keyboard and a mouse. And we've normalized reducing these complex ideas and computing them in obscure ways. And that's starting to end, especially for creative professions where it's most overdue. And so why is this moment with AI then so unique? There is this new paradigm emerging that changes everything, which is the use of natural language and natural expression to interface with machines. As Mustafa Suleiman notes in here, conversation is the new interface. In other words, we will be interfacing with software in much the same way that we interface with each other. And the interface is growing even further and beyond natural language to include hand-drawn sketches, gestures, photography, and even more. So how does this new relationship affect the future of work then? Well, the World Economic Forum thinks that we are on a cusp of crossing a threshold where machines do a larger part of a given task than humans. What many professionals we speak with, they fear that this represents lost work. Really? However, while this may be true in some domains, the more optimistic picture is that for the same amount of effort from a human, the human-machine team can accomplish much more. So in other words, humans and machines together can unlock additional capacity to do more with less. And this is why it's so important that employee development is at the center of your AI strategy. So make sure that your employees know that your AI vision is one that focusing on developing the skills, on cultivating talent, and rewarding innovation, and not replacing workers with technology AI or otherwise. Now, decades ago, computers began to support parametric 3D design, and that offered lots of rich variations, but it required quite complex rules. Not long after, designers could begin to create much more sophisticated large models, but you had to perform some programming. And later, Autodesk customers began to use generative design to explore optimized solutions. Now, however, the expertise and time that is required to set up these explorations was quite significant and leading to only a handful of design teams adopting this technology. Now, today, we are seeing the beginning of truly AI-powered 3D design, where humans can interact more naturally without having to create these complex rules and program the software or set up complex programs for it. So we can now communicate to machines in a more natural way, and this is helping us to automate, assist, and augment the design process. Now, this is not a linear sequence, but it's a disruptive change, which is compared to the other design methods. Language models, they are learning the patterns of language at a scale that is incomprehensible, right? But it still doesn't understand the meaning of tallness. It understands the patterns of how you might talk about tallness. And it responds as if it understands tallness, but it doesn't. The model cannot even give you a measure of accuracy because it doesn't understand the concept of tall. And this is what we see here in this example. Imagine that you use these kind of tools for the kind of critical infrastructure that is really demanding accuracy and precision. That would be quite a difficult proposition because imprecision for critical infrastructure, it's not desirable, right? You can't approximate a bridge design. This must be controllable and you need to be able to measure it. You must ensure that a trained professional can inspect the design, that it can understand it and certify it as viable engineering. So most of the amazing capabilities that are provided by AI tools such as ChatGPT or Copilot, they are powered by large foundation models. And these are shown at the base of this hierarchy, and they will become instrumental parts of the enterprise level technologies that our customers are creating and our customer-facing solutions. Now, Autodesk's unique role here is to provide the specialized foundation models in the second layer, the red layer that you see in here. And this layer is capable of reasoning about a spatial and structural world, which is obeying the laws of physics. In the third layer, Autodesk aims to build foundation models with industry-specific reasoning, so on how things are physically made or constructed. In other words, how a factory may manufacture a product or how a construction site might schedule a specific part of a job. And these are the standard pieces of the puzzle that Autodesk aims to provide that build on the existing language and visual foundation models. Now, finally, in the last layer, we expect that our customers will be able to aggregate and align, customize any of these models. So just as they are with language models today. And this is needed to customize to their company-specific data, to customize to specific workflows and approaches. And these AI models will be fine-tuned by that customer data. So what is Autodesk AI then doing in here? We bring in like this Autodesk AI ecosystem, and it's bringing together all of our AI capabilities. From tools like Revit, AutoCAD, Maya, to the new Autodesk Assistant into one connected platform. Empowered by our Model Context Protocol, Autodesk AI security links these design tools, APIs, and generative models to enable agentic, machine-driven workflows. And it's not a separate piece of technology, it's one ecosystem that is designed to help our customers to work smarter, innovate faster, deliver better outcomes across design and make. Now, we deliver these AI capabilities to the AECO industry already in various ways. Our approach is in a multifaceted way. We combine several types of AI and kinds of productivity tools to drive that innovation and efficiency. And the first step in here is generative AI, where we create new content, designs, solutions that are based on user inputs and learned patterns. So it enables rapid exploration of design alternatives and automates complex tasks. With the agentic AI, these are systems that are planning and deciding and acting autonomously to achieve goals. So Autodesk Assistant is one of the examples I'm going to show you a bit later here. There's also predictive AI. And predictive AI is analyzing data to forecast outcomes, to identify risks, to optimize decisions. Examples in here include real-time simulation and insights for buildings and water projects. And also we have productivity tools where AI is embedded in tools to, for instance, automate repetitive tasks, streamline workflows, enhance user productivity. So there is examples in there are scan to BIM workflows, quick RFI creation, photo issue detection, or even automation of AutoCAD blocks. And then the final part is insights and personalization, where AI is delivering personalized insights and recommendations. So we help users learn faster and make better decisions. And these insights are available across the Autodesk products, and they are focusing on user productivity and learning. Now, when we talk about Autodesk AI, we are not just talking about automation. We're talking about empowering designers across that entire design and make journey. And AI handles the tedious tasks with automation, like cleaning geometry, placing blocks, making interpretation of markups, for instance. And all of that means less time clicking and more time creating. So it's about freeing you up to design and not just to draft. Autodesk AI is also augmenting your workflows. It's suggesting more efficient commands, exploring design options, improving accuracy. So it's not replacing your creativity, it's amplifying it. And finally, Autodesk AI is also assisting in making sense of complexity, drawing insights from data, usage patterns, and performance. And it turns information into actionable decisions. So you get faster insights, you get better solutions. And this is the future of our products that are powered by Autodesk AI. And it's already here. Now, this is a lot of text, but this is important to showcase you that we developed these 5 principles for trusted AI. And they inform a process where employees seek to discover and remediate security, or where we can assess AI model IDs for data usage. There is a testing on model accuracy. There is communication, and there is also the continuously assessment that we do on customer feedback on the output of AI and also the ethics. And therefore, and it's still a work in progress, but we are developing these AI transparency cards that you can access here through that QR code. And the majority of the Autodesk AI tools, they do not employ machine learning, and those that do often use Autodesk data or synthetic data and data that is purchased or free to the public. So still some of these tools do use customer data to train AI models, and Autodesk is transparent about what data we are using from your way of working. So for example, Autodesk may train a machine learning tool with the dimensions or measurements of a manufactured part that CAD users typically add to their drawings. Now, adding dimensions is not very creative work. It can be very time consuming and error prone. So this is a terrific opportunity for us to automate that task, to streamline the process and increase your capacity to do more creative and valuable work. So Autodesk AI, what is it then? Well, it's not a single technology. It represents a class of over 40 AI-powered features across multiple products. And in order to be labeled as an Autodesk AI feature, the technology must meet some of those criteria. For example, Is the feature in full compliance with our trusted AI standards and governance? Was the feature built on top of Autodesk's internal AI development platform to ensure it has the necessary safeguards? And is it highly performant? Does the feature meet or exceed the threshold or efficiency gains? And so on. So not all AI-powered features at Autodesk meet these criteria, especially technology we gained through acquisition. But those that do are labeled as powered by Autodesk AI. You can also find them on that trust. Now, let's have a deeper look now. I gave you a bit of background. I gave you a bit of key concepts of AI. What is Autodesk doing with it? Can you trust that data in there? Well, let's have a look also on the capabilities we currently have in our AECO products. Now, with AutoCAD 2026 collaboration and design review, it became faster and more efficient thanks to that markup import and markup assist tools. So you can now extract red lines and comments directly from PDFs or image files like JPEGs, PNGs. And once you import them from Autodesk Docs, the markup assist is automatically detecting handwritten or digital markups and notes that are placed on that drawing. Now, these can be imported straight into this design file. You can include comments, you can include revision clouds, and you can also choose exactly how they are displayed, like you see in here. Now, the imported markups, they aren't just static images, they become active elements in your drawing. Now, specific geometries, such as cross-out shapes, they can even trigger functions like delete. But this one here. Give it a moment to sync the markups to AutoCAD. Give it a command, and AutoCAD will automatically detect is that, hey, wait, this is the erase command that you want to have in here. So you can also bring in markups and issues that are created, like it showed in Autodesk Docs. So you can view them directly in AutoCAD on that trace layer. You can manage them without ever switching applications. So the trace palette shows which files have been accessed along with the current status of any updated in Autodesk Docs. So altogether, markup import and markup assist, they help you to automate the design review process and to streamline collaboration in here. So feedback is seamlessly incorporated into your AutoCAD drawings. Now, all of this, you might not think about it, but all of this is powered by Autodesk AI. Let's have a look at Forma and the embodied carbon site design. Architects, they are pressed with the challenge of reducing the carbon impact of designs, right? But this type of assessment is very costly and it's often highly technical. Now, with this new feature within Forma, designers can use intuitive AI-powered analysis to better understand that carbon impacts of primary material choices you have in here, but also the building form, and this at the beginning of a project planning process. So this is going to reduce costs already, and it's improving the overall sustainable outcomes at the start. So you reduce embodied carbon impact from building designs, and you can see the results of decisions already at the planning phase. That's the part where you save time and money later in the project. Another tool that is using Autodesk AI is the machine learning deluge tool in info drainage. Now, this tool is enabling designers to predict flood maps quickly and accurately when applying water on the site surface. And this is all while leveraging new built-in artificial intelligence. So info drainage machine learning algorithms, which have been trained on more than 10,000 traditional simulations, actually, they will identify the patterns between the ground model and the resultant flood map. And then afterwards, they will present the user with the flood map showing hotspots which can be utilized to establish the best location for storage structures and stormwater controls like ponds, swales, or rain gardens. And this is helping you to get more informed design decisions about optimal areas for stormwater control. So it helps infrastructure owners and developers to avoid problem areas. It gives you faster site analysis for a more efficient design process. Now, the next step is the automatic mesh classification we have in Recap Pro. So this is still in a beta. It's in the August preview release of Recap, where we are performing an automatic classification of those meshes. So we already launched this segmented meshes of point clouds in Recap. And as you can see in here, you can indicate that you want to automatically classify. So instead of having to create your classification system yourself, we can use AI to already find the proper classifications for it, let's say, which we will see as a result in here right away. So for instance, I can select these ceilings. It automatically knows what a ceiling is, what a pillar is, what a wall is, what a even computers, tables, all kinds of furniture. So this is helping you to fasten that process instead of having to do all that tedious work in creating specific classifications for it. Now, something that exists already for quite some time is the photo auto tags in Autodesk Build. And this is leveraging artificial intelligence to automatically adding tags as metadata to your photos within Autodesk Build. So this saves your team's time and allow them to rapidly organize and access images that are needed for tracking PR. Also, the photo tagging can be used to create outcomes like tracking progress, dealing with claims, disputes, releasing payments, improving handover, and so on, promoting health and safety, as you can see in here. So very easy to use and also powered by this AI. Now, next step is Autodesk Assistant. That's our next chapter in here. What I just showed you are all the capabilities that are using Autodesk AI in the background. So there is no active or interactive engagement with it. Now, Autodesk Assistant is not just an AI assistant. It's an agentic AI partner for design and make, as we call it. And it's helping you to pioneer the future of work. Now, with this Autodesk Assistant, capacity and creativity are unlocked by AI, and every team member can use trusted and secure intelligent agents to accelerate the impact to the design and make anything. Now, unlike other agents, Autodesk Assistant is built for the complexities of design, and with deep expertise in here, in the industry and cross-industry workflows and processes, it understands what you're trying to design, and it helps you to get there faster. So with the use of conversational prompts to drive accurate and context-aware 3D modeling or execution, this Autodesk Assistant can confidently suggest the right solutions. So it's not guessing, it's making informed recommendations. And our goal is to provide our customers with an assistant that is their essential agentic partner for the design process. And there are three main areas of values in here. There's the industry-specific conversational assistant, where the Autodesk Assistant is delivering you real-time answers and insights about projects, for instance. Or the trusted and unified agentic experience. That's where the best agents are show up where and when you need them. So the Autodesk Assistant is embedded in the tools and products that you already use. So you don't need to switch programs or breaking your flow. And finally, there's also the augmentation of execution and tailored design. So with Autodesk Assistant, you will move faster and unlock the ability to do more because under your direction, it can tackle design tasks in real time as this kind of trusted partner. So it's a context-aware and intelligent assistant that is enhancing that productivity. It's providing real-time insights, so it's augmenting, and it's proactively recommending actions to optimize project outcomes. And it passes the user prompts to a collection of domain agents and what we call also MCP servers that is returning personalized contextual responses in real time. And we have built in these guardrails and will only answer Autodesk related questions. So it routes prompts through an orchestration system to ensure that the right agent or MCP is providing the best answer. So it understands its contexts. It knows what product you're in, what file you're in, and it will respond based on this context. Now, soon you'll be able to reference third-party tools for more customization. Think company standards, building codes, past projects, and so on. And things that are only available at your company. So Autodesk Assistant is secure, safe, and it complies with your privacy settings. Now, ultimately, we envision a single assistant that can answer all your Autodesk-related questions. It will partner with you on these cross-product workflows. It will partner with code checking, model updates, and coordinations. So it's one assistant with all the answers. Now, we know already Autodesk Assistants within AutoCAD as just like an assistant that helps you to find how to do specific tasks. So how do I find the activity insights, for instance? This one is telling you already right now in your current version of AutoCAD how to access a specific tool and where to find more information about it. So that's what we call in-product assistance. But of course, we go way beyond that. And one of the other things that has been launched recently is the automation of specifications within Autodesk Construction Cloud. And under that specifications part of the Autodesk Assistant, you can find critical information to project requirements instantly. So if there are specs available within your project, you can ask Autodesk Assistant in that prompt in here to give you more information about, for instance, the masonry requirements like you see in here. And you will find example questions, or you can type your own. Autodesk Assistant will find and summarize all that relevant information for you, including pointing you instantly to that right specification through direct links. So it's available to all the project stakeholders on that web. Now, another example of Autodesk Assistant is the one within Revit, which is also in a preview release available. And here we see how it's working in a preview release. So we use Autodesk Assistant to do some inquiry about the window to wall ratio of a specific facade of that building. Now in here, we even indicate that we want to have the north facade. So Autodesk Assistant is actually using that project information to find that proper facade, calculate the area of the windows, and then ultimately give you the result of that window to wall ratio. And you can also ask to replace the windows with another type of family, for instance, or generate floor plans, like what we see in here. We have this kind of floor plan. We want to increase the quality, for instance, of the view of that floor plan. So we can also ask to apply a specific view template to it. So what you see in here is that new interface. So the way that we communicate with the products. This is not, well, we are using a keyboard, of course, to text the prompt, but imagine that you can talk to it, that you just talk to Revit, telling it what to do. That's what the future will look like. And ultimately in here, you're also generating a sheet with that view. So imagine that you perform this task where you ask like to generate all the sheets for all the levels of that specific project. Now, in another example, we are using Autodesk Assistant in Civil 3D. Again, this one is also a preview release. And in here, we see how easy it actually is to interact with the model and ask information about it regarding pipes and their slope, for instance. And just type in what you want to have. The Autodesk Assistant makes contact with that Civil 3D project. So it's actually really looking into the model to find that proper information, gives you a list of all these specific pipes that you have in there. And it's even telling you that, is there anything else you want to know about this pipe inventory? Maybe it will also come up with suggestions on, do you want me to create a system from it, for instance, or a structured table in here? And there you go. Amazing, isn't it? Well, let's have another look at another uh, public beta, which is the investigation of project data in Autodesk Construction Cloud. Well, in here you can ask questions about the project's RFIs, about submittals, about issues, schedules, change orders, and you can get instant answers. Now, in this example, we ask about all open issues and open RFIs. So you could even specify more, like due this week or overdue or something to a specific trade. And the result is instant, and it provides you with the right links to review all the retrieved data. So this way you can be more proactive, you can manage your risk better, you can make faster decisions. Well, if we have a look at another of our latest advancements that we've done in RFI management, now we have this AI-powered assistant again for generating RFI forms. So Autodesk Assistant here is designed to simplify and accelerate that creation of the RFI. It also indicates on that screen, on that form, which parts of it were generated by AI, so that you have the feeling that you still are in control of it, that you can still modify where you want to modify. So to improve the results, you can even reopen the prompt box and refine the prompt, or after creating the RFI, you can see in the activity log that the RFI was generated using AI. And this way you save time, you improve at the start of your phasing, and you make your workflow more efficient with the Autodesk's AI, Autodesk Assistant. Now, if you want to join any of these projects that I just shown you, like the AI mesh classification and recap, or the Autodesk Assistant and Revit, these are open betas. You can scan them through this QR code and play with it yourself, and of course, give our product teams feedback on it. Now, let's step into a new world. Let's go into MCP servers. These are the next step in the evolution of our API ecosystem. They give developers and ISVs a more structured and AI-ready foundation to build on. And it will make it easier to automate workflows, integrate with our platform, and scale solutions without heavy custom work. And MCP, or Model Context Protocol, is a standardized way for AI applications such as LLMs to communicate with external systems. So MCP servers, they act like a translator. They can take in language from multiple and different systems and standardize it into one universal language. So non-developers will experience more capable AI agents that can access relevant data sets and take action on their behalf. And there are two ways that third-party developers can get value from MCP servers. So first, you can build on existing MCP servers, or secondly, you can create your own MCP server to encapsulate your domain expertise or service logic in this reusable model-based format. Now, this functionality is planned for future release, so it's currently not available before when some of you probably want to know, where is it? Where can I find it? Can I play with it already? Not yet. So it's something that's going to be announced quite soon. So if we look at the world before MCP, then we have multiple data sources that have their own unique API and that can connect with that AI application. Now with MCP, we generate that unified API, which makes it possible to connect any type of data source and use AI on top of it to use those data sources. So this is a simple example of how it could work. So imagine that we ask a question to an AI agent and ask it to count the amount of letters R in the word strawberry. Now, if the agent can answer on its own, then it will reply the user with, yes, it's 3. If it cannot answer it, it can connect to the MCP server. And on that MCP server, you generate a tool which is called, for instance, count R. And then the returns count, or the returns from it, is 3. and the agent replies to it. So this way, these agents become smarter with tools that are not available by default, that are not in the large language model. They can take account on that MCP server. But there is a difference between an MCP server and an MCP client. An MCP server is exposing those resources and tools. It can define what can be done. And the MCP client is the AI side. It's typically the large language model or the agentic AI interface, things like Claude, ChatGPT, and of course, Autodesk Assistant. And it connects to one or more MCP servers to discover and use their tools in a dynamic way. So it can make an interpretation of the user's intent. For instance, get the latest Revit model info. And then it can call the right MCP tool on that connected server to perform that action. So think of it as like a bit of a service consumer, the one who asks for and uses capabilities. While the MCP server, you can think of it as a service provider. Now, how is this all connected then to each other? Because it's a quite complex matter. Well, if we have large language model, this is where we talk about understanding and reasoning. Large language model is a bit like a student that is taught with a million of books, and you ask that student to write an essay. It will only write that essay based on that 1 million books that it has read. If you ask that student to perform an automated task like write an email, including that essay, it will not be able to do that for you because it can only read books and it can only give you information about what has been read in that book. So it will be able to tell you how to do, for instance, how to send an email, but it will not take that action. While an agentic AI is capable of planning the steps and deciding which tools to use to get to that goal. So it will be able to act and decide for you. And MCP, or Model Context Protocol, it's not just an AI thing. It's not an AI agent or something like that. No, it's ensuring that there is a standardized and secure communication between a large language model and the agentic AI. So, as the quote says below, without the LLM, the agent has no brain. Without the MCP, the agent has no standardized way to interact with the world. Now, the key benefits of using Autodesk MCP in the future will look like this. So the servers, they are built to Autodesk security and compliance standards, and they include authentication, permissions, and data safeguards. And they are hosted, or they will be hosted by Autodesk, providing insulation from API changes and ensure reliable, resilient performance. And these servers, they are designed to receive model, project, and user context as input, so which allows them to deliver situationally appropriate answers, responses that are tailored for design and make use cases. And they're also embedded with the Autodesk logic so that they can simplify workflows by handling key details automatically. So users and developers, they don't need to specify every detail. The integrations and automations will be more easier to do that. And this is an example of where MCP server is used. So we see here, it's a very simplistic example. Color all the walls in the Revit model in green. You might say like, I don't want to color my walls in green, but this is just to show how you can interact. Or you can ask Copilot, for instance, to delete all the furniture in that model. So on that MCP server, there are tools available that can perform that task. And this is also how Autodesk Assistant will work in the future. So because it will have more access to those MCP servers and be able to collaborate in that Revit environment. So keep an eye on our websites. These MCP server betas are coming soon, and not only for Revit, but also for the Model Data Explorer and also for Fusion. You will be available to have access to it. Now, and this is not yet the end, because what we also see is that our audience often wants to have a deeper dive in the powerful and growing field of generative AI. And this is moving past the traditional application of AI tools within design and make software, because these features, they represent advanced AI tools within our portfolio. And first, it's very important that we don't confuse generative design and generative AI, because they are very different forms of AI. And generative design is offering an evolutionary algorithm that is optimizing design options on a set of programmed criteria. And this is what we call a deterministic approach. So the same input will always generate the same output. We can easily inspect the results and rules to understand how the machine came to that certain solution. So there is not machine learning involved in here in a purely generative design approach. Well, in contrast, generative AI is employing machine learning. So this is a probabilistic approach, and we can have the same input, but that same input will always generate a different output. Although it's typically easier to use and produces results much faster, how the computer achieves those results can be a real mystery. So we now face a future where we can combine the precision and control of generative design with the ease of use and speed and expressiveness of generative AI. So we are introducing now this Gen AI foundation models that are trained on professional design data. And we refer to this groundbreaking AI foundation models as what we call neural technology. And we expect that this neural technology will evolve quickly to create an entirely new type of design and make software. So our first proof point for this technology are the new neural cat-aware models in products such as Fusion and Forma. And we already announced this groundbreaking industry-specific Gen AI. And these were trained on both CAD objects, industrial and architectural systems. And all of this is moving far beyond the practice of only incorporating large language models into existing solutions. And if we have a look at one of our examples within AECO, this is our first AC related foundation model, which is neural CAD for buildings in Forma. And it's enabling architects to quickly transition between early design concepts and more detailed building layouts and systems. We call it Building Layout Explorer, and it will translate between an architectural massing model and a building floor plan layout. So changes to one architectural system are reflected in the other. And Autodesk, we are envisioning an exciting future with this, especially where additional architectural systems can be generated with prompts, including preliminary structural engineering plans like you see in here and more. So this foundation model is rapidly discovering alignments and common patterns between those different representations and different aspects of building systems. So this is future. It looks like you can access it already, but this is future. This is the neural technology, neural CAD. This is the next stage that you will be in when taking that step into AI. So think about it and how you want to incorporate AI in your company. Remember that progression that I showed from CAD to BIM, to connected BIM, to outcome-based BIM, and to get further into the AI-powered BIM. And with that, I want to leave you with that thought. And we still have some time to answer a few of the questions that have been sent. We saw that there is plenty of questions in the chat box, so we love that. I see that Mara has answered quite some questions already. And I'm going to pick a few of them just live to see what we can answer on it immediately. So will the MCP servers be available for integration with already existing AI agents? And the answer to that is yes. because the thing with MCP service is that it's creating a unified language, which makes it possible for any AI agent to connect to that MCP server and ask that MCP for a proper question or a proper task. And that MCP will, with its unified language, it can communicate to all the separate data sources that have their own unique API.
Maybe I can step in here, Dieter, because it's really a lot of
Yes.
questions, and I can summarize what the interest is all about. So a lot of the interest is actually of what is available right now and for what products it is available, and yeah, how they can, or how our listeners can actually try what is already available. Maybe you can quickly delve into that.
So for which products it is available? Well, the thing is that Autodesk Assistant will be, it's something that will be available throughout all of the the products that we have. Currently, it's in AutoCAD and in Autodesk Construction Cloud built for specifications. And then in the beta products, it's in Revit, Civil 3D, but it will also come in Forma, Fusion, Dynamo. Yeah, actually in most of it. Does that answer it?
I think it does. And this is just what most questions are about. And I've also put it in the chat. We will follow up after the webinar with the proper questions or with answers to your questions, as there are so many that it's quite hard to handle right now.
Yeah. So we were with a lot of people that joined this webinar. So thank you all for that. We really appreciate that. There was such a great attendance rate, and looks like everyone loved this information. So we look forward to meet you more in the future. So keep an eye on your mailbox. You will get a recording of this webinar. And for the rest, I wish you a very happy Friday and a good weekend. And talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Happy Friday.